Oh, Bloomberg Originals did a video about how China is rewiring its faltering economy? Interesting.
China is building a whole new economic engine, and it's a lot shinier than the last one.
我们正以高质量发展全面推进中国式现代化。
The prolonged slump of China's property market is dragging down consumer confidence and weighing on an economy already suffering from the effects of low productivity in heavy industry and cheap manufacturing. So, Beijing needs a replacement.
Bro, this is going to be bar for bar, and it's going to come out before the Marketing Monday video, but after the recording.
And it's focused on creating a high-tech, clean, lucrative, and sustainable one.
You're looking at creating new energy like solar panels.
Where did this get on views? Oh, I'm going to beat it. I'm going to beat it, dude.
Or batteries, or building semiconductors, biopharmaceuticals, you're looking at AI.
All industries the world's major economies want a piece of and will compete for control of.
It's crucially important for China's ability, potentially, to overtake the United States as the world's biggest economy and most potent geopolitical force.
And Beijing's plan is starting to pay off. Over the past 4 decades, China transformed from one of the poorest countries in the world to its second biggest economy.
A lot of that was driven by property and infrastructure. Urbanization drove expansion of a property and infrastructure building, which was very powerful in sending China demand and growth much higher over the past.
Is this going to be literally real estate was the way up? Now real estate is popping. Now they're working on moving up the value chain in the manufacturing. They're making batteries, EVs, and solar panels. But the danger is tariffs. Is this video is going to be literally the points I made in the order that I made them?
Past many years.
I'll watch.
So was the country's role as the world's manufacturer of choice for cheap, mass-produced goods and materials. But this familiar branding, it became something of a punchline, a derisive nod to China's exports being poor quality versions of Western products. President Xi Jinping intends to change that, for Made in China to become a badge of honor. And that will rely on cities like this.
We're here at GCL Technology's home base in Suzhou, China, about halfway between Beijing and Shanghai. GCL is the world's second leading producer of polysilicon.
My dream is to like put more and more budget into Marketing Monday and not just do Dr. Battle reports, but actually be able to like get footage from something. I think that'd be so sick. Or if we even had a community, like if there was like something in France, I could get a community member in France to go film. And you know, we don't have to use a ton of it, but we just get like some on the ground. I think that'd be so sick. Or if I could interview people, you know how they like a talking head interview and you're like, well, yes, Professor so-and-so. And then the guy's like, yeah, this is a bad problem for China. And they're nodding. I wish I could have that. I think this show is doing pretty well for it just being me and my personality explaining things from my fucking bedroom. But it could be so sick if we could like get more and level it up. That's my dream. What if we dress chatters up and they pretend to be professors? That'd be such a fire bit. If I'm like, and I asked a professor from Harvard Law, and it's just fucking Dr. Battle in a suit, and he's like, yeah, this is bad. I might do that. That's actually really funny. That's actually an incredibly funny bit to save time from actually finding someone to interview.
The key material for solar panels.
And it hit on a manufacturing breakthrough that helped it become the world's only commercial maker of this stuff, granular silicon, which uses significantly less electricity to produce compared with existing methods. It's cheaper and greener to make cutting-edge solar panels with. Exactly the kind of high-tech innovation President Xi Jinping wants.
Over the past decade, China has given consistent policy support and has helped back companies with cheap land, cheap credit, easy environmental permitting. It's seen its industry grow and grow and grow to the point where now it absolutely dominates global solar panel manufacturing.
Solar panels are just one of the new 3, as Xi Jinping's government dubbed its priority areas of growth. Electric vehicles are one of the others, and the country's booming EV industry is making it a global auto heavyweight. BYD, based in the southern Chinese tech hub of Shenzhen, is China's best-selling car brand, and it's on track to once again become the biggest seller of EVs globally.
SU7 is sick.
China is producing these products at much cheaper prices than its competitors, but also the quality.
the big three, it's just Big G. That's such a hard bar. I have to give you credit where credit is due. The second they said big three, you were on that, and I have to give you credit. That's what a good chatter does. You know what I'm saying? You're stepping up. You're playing offense. You're playing defense. The team needs you. You're Bronny James now, not Bronny James 3 games ago.
If you look at the Chinese consumers, when they face both Tesla and domestic brands, which one they choose, the domestic brands by no means inferior.
And inside them, the final member of Xi's new three, lithium-ion batteries, used to power EVs, but also products you can attach to a drone or a dog. Together, the new three have driven the rapid growth in the value of China's exports, underpinned by that all-important policy support.
When Xi Jinping and his team identify a new priority.
Imagine this, but it's Dr. Battle.
When Xi Jinping
This would be so fucking sick. We just cut to him in like a lab coat, and he's like, yeah, lithium. You need subsidies for that.
Jinping and his team identify a new priority, they can point banks at providing the finance and businesses at acquiring the technology to try and get them to where they want to go.
This has not gone unnoticed.
Obviously, we're facing a very different geopolitical environment with all the tariffs talks being ramped up.
We're starting to hear the actual figures that Europe is planning on doing when it comes to tariffs and EVs from China.
25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum products, and we'll counter China's overcapacity in these industries.
Protectionist salvos from the US and Europe may slow China's tech ascent, but they're also fueling Xi's push for self-sufficiency. And that's not just about economics.
Key technologies aren't just good for growth, they also have direct national security implications. The bigger the Chinese economy is, the more that—
Dude, it is crazy how important drones are to modern warfare, as they're discovering in the Ukraine war. Drones are everything. Drones are the most cost-effective way to fight war. Drones beat tanks, drones beat missiles, drones beat and China is so far ahead on making drones. It's like both Ukraine and Russia are buying drones from China to kill each other. Obama was ahead of his time, dude. I don't know how many times I gotta say this. Presidents after Obama did more drone strikes. He was just there when drones became a thing. He did not personally go, I fucking love drone striking. We got a drone strike. He wasn't like grabbing the controls. It's just like so many things to be critical of Obama for. Everyone only hits the drone strikes. For some reason, that has become Obama's legacy. He's the drone strike guy. And that's not the case. He's running the drone program to this day. If you go to the CIA black site and you look in there, it's called the black site because he's black. Obama's still in there fucking piloting the drone. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how much more Truman loved nuclear bombs than Lincoln. He loved them way more, dude. The fucking nuclear bomb usage spiked.
they're going to be able to pay for a capable military.
You'll have heard of at least one company that knows this all too well.
Huawei had to back out of the smartphone market because it didn't have access to the most advanced chips.
So it developed its own instead, and the tension escalated.
The Biden administration, of course, has imposed these very strict export controls on what kinds of chips, what kinds of chip-making equipment can be sent to China.
And so on. It meant that despite Huawei's chip breakthrough, China's semiconductor industry is still behind global leaders. Xi's big push is facing domestic challenges though too. That declining property market we saw earlier has a ripple effect, hitting companies that produce steel and cement, as well as ordinary people.
Yeah.
Chinese investors don't have a ton of ways to put their money away for the future. One of the most successful in recent decades has been buying a house and seeing that value get better and better and better over time. And so the crash in the housing market, it's reduced consumer confidence.
Yeah, now they just use the global fentanyl trade to get their money out of China into US dollars and then buy stocks and houses here. I use my fent to pay my rent. It's a really great slogan, a pretty bad lifestyle. It's really a win-win situation. Yeah, it really is a win-win situation. I mean, we get fent and we get more bids for American property. So how's that? How do we lose? The big three, it's just fent for me. Bro, don't try to jack his swag. TB222, I see you trying to jack the last chatter swag, who crushed with the fucking the big three, all right? And now you're trying to fucking jump on his train, dude. You're trying to say it again, but louder. My fent dealer lets me use Afterpay. I feel like I'm going to say something that's going to be a little bit controversial around here. I fucking hate Klarna and Afterpay, of course. And so I make fun of them a lot. But I've noticed that chatters have begun just saying, it's like a Mad Libs where they just throw Afterpay into a sentence and then that becomes the joke. That's that's not, you're like pandering a bit to me. Okay, because I like making fun of Afterpay, and then you go, yeah, it's because I giggle, but because I think it's funny. But now I'm noticing that I'm being played for a fool. F the big three, it's just Afterpay. It's back, baby! It's back! Holy shit! We're so back.
You can see that clearly on this chart. Over the past 5 years, while China's factories ramped up production, consumers tightened their belts.
China can't continue on its development path by producing too much, consuming too little, and expecting the US consumer to pick up the slack. For Xi Jinping and his aspiration to drive China's new productive forces, that could be a significant problem.
Back here at GCL, the solar technology company in Xuzhou, innovation is helping its parent city transition towards high-tech sectors, away from a long-standing reliance on mining and heavy industry. But take a look at this analysis from Bloomberg Economics of industrial contributions to China's gross domestic product. The data show the same transition is expected to take place across the country, with property's contribution to GDP continuing to decline, but technology sectors rising to fill the gap.
What the push for this economic transformation here in China means is that no longer is China's future going to be dependent on taking something the rest of the world made and producing it cheaper and quicker and reselling it to everybody else. What you're seeing now in solar panels, companies like GCL, and electric vehicles and batteries, is that Chinese companies are at the forefront of bringing new products to market.
It's a blueprint South Korea knows well. It pivoted from a reliance on heavy industry to technology and became one of the world's biggest exporters, fostering popular household names in the process.
While Japan and Korea could export their way to high income, it's just much harder for China to do that because there's just not enough global demand to absorb all of the Chinese exports.
Beijing also isn't an ally of Washington, unlike Seoul. Still, Chinese leaders have set an ambitious goal of boosting per capita GDP.
Yeah, I mean, just the big problem is tariffs. It's like other countries don't want China to dominate batteries, EVs, and solar panels over their domestic industries. They don't really mind Samsung making chips and phones, and so we'll see. But I mean, it's a pretty big gamble. What about the free market? Rules are changing globally. Every country that was like, yeah, globalism, free market, is now like throwing up walls because they're seeing unrest internally and they're seeing, job losses. Why are companies so scared of China? Just traditional military fears? What do you mean? Companies are scared of China because it's like a huge population. Like if you're Apple, you sell a fifth of all iPhones are in China. It's like a huge part of your business. So you say China is having a brat summer. I don't know why that always hits for me when I'm saying something serious and then someone at the end goes like, so you're saying this is like Roblox story mode, or they just say something stupid and it does seem to hit. Yes, I'm saying Xi Jinping has been listening to Charlie.
From the current level and maintaining a growth rate for the economy of about 5% a year.
I think if China gets it right from a growth point of view, China can maintain a solid pace of growth for many years to come. And because of China's sheer size, its contribution to global growth will be important on the global stage.
There are patterns in what makes you laugh, LOL. It's called a sense of humor, bro. Yeah, so for you. Same for you. Everybody. That's there are things that delight you more than others, and they bring you joy. You have a certain pattern of things you like and don't like, and you've built your personality around these things.